Today we are going to be coloring in this Robin coloring page with Crayola crayons. If you'd like to cozy up and color along with me, you can find this free coloring page at creativebearden.com. Welcome back to Creative Bear Den. I'm your host Emma, and let's just get into it. It's kind of crazy how all of a sudden there's birds outside and they're finally chirping again after winter. It's kind of like you forget that they're even there and then suddenly they're back. And I notice right away when you wake up in the morning and you hear them chirping, and it's like one of the most beautiful, refreshing sounds that there is, because it's just an indicator that spring is on its way. Now, unfortunately, the spring in the Midwest comes with a false spring and then a winter, and then this year we got another false spring, and I'm hoping this is the last winter. We just got dumped on with snow, and there's possibly some more to come, but I'm looking forward because at the end of this week it's supposed to be bright sun and shiny, 50 degrees out. I'm so excited. I can't wait for that time and to feel like that refreshing feeling when spring comes again. It's kind of like when you get that fall summer, there's so much hope and your energy levels go up and you're like, I'm ready. I'm going to go do everything I want to do. My brain starts racing with the ideas I've had all winter long that I haven't been able to work on. And then it comes out again during that short time, but then we get winter again, and it's like a fist punching you in the face. It's sad. So we just kind of have to deal with the weather for now until it finally is completely over being winter. How's weather for where you guys live? I've heard that it's like, where was it? Arizona? Was it 100 degrees? That's insane for this time of year in the Midwest. And I can't say I'm necessarily envious of that, because I don't think I'd want 100-degree weather either. But I also really am over the snow. It once you're ready for spring, it's hard to keep having snow and keep having the weather impact you so much, because it can impact you a lot for your mental health. And also you just kind of get stuck in your house sometimes, especially if you're not one to go out during the winter. I definitely get like that. I do like activities, but winter activities can be very expensive, so I tend to be more of the inside. Let me just curl up and what is it called? What bears do, guys. I often forget my words a lot, so it's gonna be a struggle sometimes trying to say the things I want to say. I already lost my words. Oh geez. But like, spring is feels like the actual new year. New Year's in the middle of winter, in the middle of snow, in the middle of that kind of stuff. It's very difficult to get off your butt and do the things that you want to do, because it's so nasty outside still. Typically, I mean, depending on where you live, it's hard to want to go and complete your goals if you make goals during the New Year's. I'm someone who, I don't necessarily make goals during the New Year's. I kind of make goals for myself throughout the year, or find new things I want to try or do. and I kind of just work on them as best as I can to form habits. So, but I do look forward to spring cleaning and airing out the windows and getting all of the dust and just all of the everything that gathers inside your house. Like this energy gathers inside your house that you're like, opening the windows helps release that out. Fresh. Something new. But did you guys make any New Year's goals? What are they? I mean, if you want to consider a goal of mine, wasn't exactly New Year's. I started it last year, but I'd like to start running more. Never been a runner at all. I always have hated running, actually, and struggled a lot with it. But my dad got into running a few years ago, and then my sister got into running like a year or so ago. And I wanted to work out. I wanted to start working out in some capacity, but I just didn't have it in me to continue doing like weights or lifting or anything where I have to turn on the TV and watch. Like you'll watch you've probably done this. You watch different people do workouts and you follow along with them. I didn't really want to do anything like that just because for me, I feel like I have an addiction to the TV. Once I sit in front of the couch and turn something on, I kind of want to keep having it be turned on. So I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I started doing some running, and it's actually kind of crazy how much you can feel yourself improve just within the first, and like pushing yourself just within the first couple times of running. Anyways, I'd love to know what your New Year's goal is if you have one, or just something you generally want to work on improving. I definitely have tried something new this year, and that is creating this coloring page. It has been a lot of work and a lot of learning. I've never done anything like this to bring it full to sharing it in a way of, let me try to find my words. Creating something that I'm sharing with people and hoping people will enjoy as well, and we can kind of create together. This is something amazing, and to me, anyways. So I'm excited to share this Robin coloring page with you. And speaking of spring, I just wanted to talk about the colors that I'm using, because I'm not using typical Robin colors. I'm using, I wanted to go with like a spring theme, especially because spring is literally right here. It's right in front of our faces, despite all the snow that's falling down. It is right here. And so I kind of wanted to go with spring themed colors, but I kind of got brought into like this cotton candy combination of like pink and blue, and I think that is my kind of aesthetic, I guess, or just what I'm going for the colors. And so I did do some, before I started coloring, I did some swatches of blues and pinks that came in my pack of crayons, and I found like the perfect cotton candy pink, but I found this other really beautiful pink that is more of like a wet cotton candy. Like, you know how cotton candy, the pink side is really this light dainty color? Well, when you get it that wet, you usually get like more of a rich pink color from sounds weird to say, like where your saliva, like any water hits the sugar. that's the other pink I found, and I wanted to go with it because I kind of liked that pink a little bit more. It does go away from the theme of cotton candy, I feel, a little bit, but I was also, like, for the first part, I'm coloring the roses. I did want to go with a rose pattern for that one, and I thought that the more darker pink would encapsulate a rose better than the lighter pink. So that's what I decided to go with in the end. And I really like the colors together, and I don't know if I encapsulated cotton candy enough, but let me know in the comments if I did it or if I should have went with the other pink. And this is like the first time I've colored with crayons in a long while. I have not colored with crayons since I was probably a child. And so it was kind of fun to open them, see all the colors, and I was actually surprised to find how like smooth they felt going over the paper. They felt very soft, I would say. And obviously crayons always have this like waxy texture to them, but that's just crayons, so kind of had to deal with that. And I felt like doing a pattern worked the best for me when using crayons, because it can be hard to blend the crayons together, especially without turning in too waxy. So I thought it would be cute as a pattern. And I also decided to do some trial coloring before I actually committed to doing this video and coloring in the coloring page, because I was nervous about it's a thing of like perfection. Sometimes I want to try to be perfect with the things I do, but you just can't. So I did do some test trials with it just to be able to ease my mind when I was sitting there in front of a camera trying to figure out what to do. But I think it worked out for the best, because I could at least figure out what my idea was before I would spend hours in front of the camera not knowing what I was doing. So, with the download you're able to get, it's a free download, so you can print it off as many times as you want. So you can always do a couple test colors, especially if you're coloring with something you haven't colored with in a long time. That's perfectly okay before you get your final product. Or you can just do it for fun. I guess I'm a little bit controlling when it comes to that. Just want things to be laid out perfectly. And as this was like a nostalgic moment for me, not coloring with crayons for a long time, I decided to also color on like the table. So the background, you can see the background. It is my childhood table. So this is the table I sat at basically growing up my whole life, and for the most part, but so it has all these memories inside of it of wear and tear. It has paint splashes, it has all that kind of stuff in it, and so I thought it would be a perfect setting for coloring with crayons today. We did a lot of crafts on this table. I remember growing up, and we didn't only do crafts, we also did science experiments and probably a bunch of other things, because my mom made sure that we had something to do. And so we'd sit at the table and we'd paint, or we'd do these science experiments and that kind of stuff. And that can put a lot of wear and tear onto the table, but it's really beautiful. And there's this one time where all my siblings and I were fighting over where we wanted to sit at the table, as kids do. Kind of like a fight of, when you get older, you're like, okay, why are we fighting over this? But I always had, for me, I had a particular spot. I'm someone who likes to sit on, with my knees folded. I like to sit on, like, how'd you call it? I just like to sit on my knees, and so sitting on a typical chair with a back does not work so well when you're trying to sit on your knees. So I would always take the side. There's 4 chairs, typical chairs, and then the one long side has a bench, and so I would always want to sit on the bench. Well, everyone else always wanted to sit on the bench as well, because I guess maybe it became a whole thing of everyone wanting to sit on the bench, because I love the bench so much. And then came the war of arguing and my poor mom having to deal with us. And in the end, what she did was she took Sharpie marker and she wrote our names on the table, directly on the table. And so we would each have our spots, and those were our spots. Now, I did get a bench seat. So I got my way in the end. But I don't know how to wrap that up other than say that's kind of a little memory of this table that comes to mind. It's a big one because, you know, I wanted my seat. I couldn't let anyone else have it for a night. I'm so sorry, Mom. And with this table, I maybe want to bring it into some sort of future of restoring it. Because it has a lot of memories to it, but if I want the table to last longer, I need to sand it down, restain it, put a finish over it, and get it. The finish is very important because it needs to be preserved in some sort of way, because a lot of the finish has rubbed off and it's very bad. So I will probably do that in the future, but it just means, even though it's sad, it just means that I can use it for making new memories of, like, if I have children, then they can sit at the table and maybe scratch it up and throw paint on it or something of the sort like that. And then it'll be a whole new memory. And that's kind of a nice thought of, like, even if I want to restore it to make it look nice and new, I could still mess it up. I could still make it look like as bad as it is now. Yeah. Kind of a fun memory, but back to the coloring page. This coloring page is based on a painting I did about 3 years ago. I think this coloring page is based on the first painting I ever did of a bird, which obviously is a robin. It's kind of crazy to feel like you do well on something that you kind of give your first go to now to be, you know, I've been painting for a long time, so, but I've always avoided animals, birds, anything like that in my paintings. But this bird actually turned out really well, and now I try to incorporate birds in most of my paintings because they just kind of, to me, liven up a painting and make it look like there's actually a world in there. The funny thing about me painting birds, I think, is that I'm actually kind of scared of birds in real life. For no reason, generally, for no reason. They seem so unpredictable. And I think that's what scares me, is like I don't have any idea of what's going on in their heads. And so they just might fly at you, or I don't know. I have been attacked by a bird before. I was just walking down a normal walking path, one laid out by the city, and I must have been too close to a bird's nest, and it came down, it grabbed my head, and it flew away, and I did kind of run away from it, but that has happened to me, and it wasn't like most scary, but it was definitely like, what just happened? And I was definitely scared of birds before then. I think it's because they just seem so unpredictable. I feel like I don't know what they're about to do next. I don't feel like I can relate to them. Although I guess there probably are some people that relate to birds out there. Maybe I relate to them in a spiritual way of flying, but that looks awesome. I would love to be able to fly, but not in a up close, let me just look at you and oh gosh. I don't know. It's just, there's a disconnect there. But birds are really beautiful, and I love them beyond just trying to relate to them. That's weird. But I love to paint them. It just feels lively when painting them, and this painting actually is now at my grandma's. She loves her birds as well, and she soon is if I show her any paintings I've done of a bird, she's like, "Oh, how much is it? Can I buy it?" And it's so cute. I love it. But I'm also like, it's okay. But she does love her birds, and so I'll let her make her own decisions. But it is kind of nice because it's in a place where I can go and see it. And I know who has it, and I know them, because sometimes when you let go of paintings or things you've worked on so hard, it can be difficult to let them go and be like, I'm never gonna see you again, goodbye. I hope you don't end up like in the trash. I don't know, is that a fear for any other artists out there, that your work will end up in the trash, or someone will not love it as much as you do, But it is also kind of a thing where you kind of have to trust that, because like even with my artwork, it a lot of it sits. It just sits and it's waiting for its home. So you kind of have to trust that they love it enough, because oftentimes when people buy a piece of art, it's because they love it so much or relate to it so much, and there's just like a connection there, which is awesome to see, and something that is so it is so amazing to just know that. I've had that happen to me with a painting before, and an unsuspected painting as well. But it was great. It was great to see that, and great to see someone so excited about something I painted. If you made it this far in the video, please click like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content. It helps us spread the word and get more people out. And it helps spread the word. And it helps us reach more people that might also like this type of content. So thank you if you can do that. Otherwise, please just enjoy the video. And I'd love to see what you do with this coloring. And I'd love to see what you do with this coloring page. So please tag us on Instagram with a picture at Creative Bear Den. And there's another thing I have to address. What is your favorite drink? Your favorite drink to cozy up and settle into some art and your creativity. What do you drink to make you feel creative or just enjoy while you're being creative? If you can't tell, mine is tea. I love making myself a nice warm cup of tea when I want to be creative. And honestly, I drink tea twice a day, so not even to be creative, just to live. I drink tea. But I'm only a hot tea type of person. I've never really enjoyed cold tea. The taste, like the taste of tea, the earthy tea, like it just doesn't taste the same with the sweetener and the cold as warm tea just tastes. And I like to drink my tea I brew it to the maximum and I drink it without any sugar, without any honey, without anything else, just straight tea. That is my favorite way to drink it. So, if you drink tea, how do you drink your tea? If you don't drink tea, what kind of drink do you like to drink? Because there's so many drinks out there. Anyways, I'm drinking the last of my chamomile tea today. Chamomile tea is not something I typically reach for. It is a really cozy tea, but I tend to go for black or white teas. I don't know, I just like them a lot. But this is the last of my This is the last of my chamomile tea. And if you haven't had it before, I definitely recommend getting it as like little flowers, because they might look a little dried up when you first get them, but once you put them in the water, they just bloom out, so they look like beautiful flowers. I'm sure you've probably seen like it animated, or maybe a cute video online somewhere of flowers blooming, and it's actually spectacular to see them kind of being restored to how they look like when I first trimmed them. But I'm excited because I'm gonna plant more chamomile this next year. And yes, I did do like try last year, and I'm surprised how easy it is to plant and then cultivate the chamomile tea, because you just have to cut off the head of the flower. But I'm excited to plant some more. We're gonna get some seeds started and maybe expand on what other teas I am going to grow this year. I've got like this. What else have I bought? So I bought snap peas because I love fresh snap peas from the garden. We bought. What else did we buy? We bought these interesting. They're like sticks with little pumpkins that grow at the end of them. I've never seen these before, but I saw them, and so I decided I'm gonna try, because maybe I'll get like some cute decorations for fall that way. Oh, we're also doing a type of squash that I think it's a squash that you grow, dry out through the winter, and then you can make them into birdhouses. I'm super excited for that because my mom used to do it when we were little, and I want to try doing it myself. It just looks so cute, and like you can paint them, you can do a whole bunch of things with them. So I'm excited to do that. And I think we got peppers. We'll probably also grow potatoes. We do have wild raspberries already, but we haven't been able to get them to grow any raspberries. I think we need to trim them. So I might have to watch a video about how to get your raspberries to grow, because I've never seen them grow raspberries before. But I probably just want to take over our whole backyard. What else? I don't know what else I bought for plants. I know there's other stuff. I just can't recall what the names are because they're completely new to me. I do think we got one of those like that says Al's biggest pumpkin seeds, from like a contest winner of someone who grew a giant pumpkin. I've always wanted to grow pumpkins, and I know my boyfriend has always wanted to grow a pumpkin. He seemed a little less excited about it this year. But we've never gotten, every time we've planted a pumpkin, it's never even grown slightly. And so maybe this time with the Al's biggest pumpkin, at least some sort of pumpkin will grow. So we're gonna try that out and see how far we get. I'm so excited because we're gonna start our seeds early. Probably actually gonna do that after recording today, as I'm gonna plant all these seeds and get them started, and then once this winter finally ends, then then we can plant them in the ground and get our garden situated. We've kind of got some nice planting platforms that were already built in, and so it's kind of nice because we don't have to like dig up the ground all that much. It was kind of already there, but it is a lot of work to keep a garden from being overgrown with just random plants and things like that, and keeping it nice. Because when we first moved into our house, it was covered in like this grapevine and just a bunch of other plants, and it took a lot of work to get it to where it's now, where there's no plants. But now we have to put more plants back in to get it to grow back up and to be nice. And I know another thing we're gonna do this year. We're gonna I think put a bunch of wildflowers. We're gonna try to grow a bunch of wildflowers in our backyard. I kind of, I don't know if anyone else has ever had this dream, but I want to go to somewhere that's just flowers everywhere. I cannot find a place like that where it's just beautiful flowers and I can just go out there and pick a couple and make a little bouquet, but there's a billion flowers out there, so it's not like you're hurting too much. But I think that would be nice and pretty, and it's probably smell good too. So I think we're gonna try that in our backyard and just see what grows, or we'll see if the birds take all of the seeds. We'll see. Do you guys have any gardening plans? Or do you have green thumbs? Are you an indoor plant kind of person, or do you like to have a huge garden? I would love more indoor plants, but my cats really love to get into them. So if we do have plants, obviously we make sure they're cat safe, but we also, it's hard to have them when they get into them either way and kind of destroy them. So we just have a few ones hanging up here or there that they can't reach. But I would love to have more. Although some of the other ones that I have had indoors, I forget to water. So the ones we do have currently are cactus. They're cactuses. Because I don't think I could keep a regular plant alive. It would have to be like right in front of my face, next to a sink for me to remember. Because every time I'm at a sink, I can go, when was the last time I watered that? And then grab a cup of water and water it. So unfortunately, indoor plants are difficult. Outdoor plants are a little bit more manageable because, sometimes it rains. So if you forget, there's usually groundwater or rain that helps the plants continue to grow. But what do you guys, do you prefer indoor plants, outdoor plants, no plants? You kill them just like that? I do with some plants too. It happens. But I'm curious of if you like to garden. I grew up, we had a giant garden in our backyard, and I don't even know how my parents kept up with it, but grew every single vegetable, I swear, and had a lot of fresh fruits and veggies. I'm guessing most of what we ate were fresh, and I also think we canned a bunch of stuff as well. But I think those types of experiences in my life give me the want to go and garden and the want to go and do these things, because I watched it so much growing up that I'm like, that looks like I loved kind of living that way of you have to get up and you have to go get your fruit and your veggies from the garden. And, you always have something to kind of keep you busy so you don't really get bored all that much. I mean, it can be good to be bored, but, then you have to go outside. Didn't have my garden. I probably wouldn't go outside all that much because you get so comfortable inside. But besides that, I'm looking forward to maybe having an outdoor area where I can go outside and sit and read books. We always had like this little swinging bench, and so I kind of want one of those too. I don't know if we can fit it in our yard. We have a pretty tiny yard, but something outside where I can sit and read books in the shade and also not be not be surrounded by spiders. like something that's on cement. So if there are spiders, I can see them coming. I know spiders are good for the environment, and they're, you know, probably won't hurt me, but they just scare me. Now I'm getting flashbacks to one crawling on my shoulder one time, and it was a giant one. Oh gosh, okay, I gotta wave that memory from my mind. Oh, yeah, that was a scary moment. Um, but book recommend books. I'm excited to read books outside. It's so nice, and so especially when there's like a nice little breeze and there's sun and that kind of atmosphere, it just sounds really nice, really refreshing. And so that brings me to if you guys have any book recommendations. I'm someone who's always kind of read more fantasy style books, fantasy or fiction, although I've been more into fantasy lately. But I'd also like to get into. I would like to either get into more fiction or sort of non-fiction books. But I don't know how to get into those and what ones would be really good to read. I'm someone who is very visual. If you can't tell, I'm an artist, and it's kind of how my life runs, is with visuals. But it's difficult to read nonfiction because I can't always, the way it's written, I can't always visualize it in my head. Like fiction, you kind of lay out a whole world and you can visualize it in your head. And so sometimes when I'm reading, it's not even like I'm reading, it's a movie if I'm able to get a full visual inside my head. But I've loved book recommendations from fantasy to fiction to maybe some nonfiction. I think that would be kind of fun if you have any recommendations. Last recommendation I got was to read Howl's Moving Castle because I've watched the movie a lot. I think it's one of my favorite movies. It's so cute. I think it's one of my favorite movies, and it's so peaceful. But someone told me that I should read it because it's got a whole lot more information in it. And I haven't finished it yet, but I'm slowly working on it. And it is very cute and a lot more like information about it. So that's my recommendation so far. If you need a new book to read, is Howl's Moving Castle. I do honestly love that movie, and I love how peaceful it is and how it's not so in your face and loud. It's just very calming and just light and airy, and I think that's like my new favorite quality in movies is just being light and nice and still have a lot to it, but it doesn't feel so heavy, like every aspect of it loud and a lot. And I think it's just much more peaceful and cozy, and yeah, it's nice like that. I do absolutely love watching movies. I guess I could say it's a pastime of mine. Like I said earlier, I get addicted to the TV. So I like to keep watching. I've gotten a lot better at it. Now I'm able to stop myself more after a lot of effort of, you know, getting my mind to settle more, but I do really enjoy watching movies, and we're slowly collecting the Studio Ghibli movies. Yes, we got ourselves a Blu-ray player so we can collect the shows we really love, so we have them. And I really enjoy that because then I can just pop them in and I don't have to worry about if my streaming platform has a specific thing that I love. But I also am someone who rewatches movies and shows over and over again, and I will love them every time I watch them. I don't know, how are you guys when you watch stuff? Are you kind of like a one and done, I'm done with this, I don't want to ever watch it again, or do you enjoy rewatching? I think I tend to forget things, like I forget what happened and I forget watching it, and so it's easy for me to watch it multiple times. And then sometimes I also think a lot of things go over my head within the plot and like characters' intentions and things like that, because sometimes the way dialogue is written is very confusing. But so after watching it a couple times, I can fully gain each character's perspective and their thoughts, and like, oh, that's why they decided to do that, or something of the sort like that. I think I've gotten into more watching YouTube again. Like, I always have been kind of into YouTube because I grew up watching YouTube. I mean, not fully, but it was a big part of my childhood. I would watch a lot of like people playing video games like Minecraft, and there was definitely a couple other big ones, but obviously Minecraft was so big during my time as a kid, and I watched a lot of that. But then it kind of turned into different stuff, and for a while I couldn't really find too much that I wanted to watch on YouTube. But now I've been kind of getting back into people playing games, because there's so many more games and cozy games out there and different things like that to watch, and I really enjoy just the random banter, or like just the fun little jokes that are told, and it's a lot like the slower. I think I do enjoy like the live streams because it's slow talk, and I mean, they like to talk most of the time, but it's not always big meaning behind it, and it's kind of is casual and fun and not so daunting like movies. You kind of have a whole backstory to them, and or backstory and plot and things to say about the world, or things to comment on, and that kind of stuff. You kind of get that with movies, which makes sense. I mean, it's an art form, and with any art, you're usually trying to say something with it, but it's kind of chill and fun, and I've enjoyed that, and I like that, and I think that's something I want to bring to when I do these types of videos, is chill and fun, and hopefully better speaking when I get more comfortable talking into a mic and sharing. Kind of, for me, it's just a microphone, but it is also getting posted out there into the world. So it's fun. Just simple words. Don't worry, that will be enough. Just simple words. You don't need a big dictionary to understand. But what kind of YouTubers do you like to watch, or what kind of YouTube do you like to watch? Is it something like what I'm doing now? Just kind of chill banter and talking? Or do you like very in-depth videos? Or like what kind? Like what's the genre? What's the feel? I also like I like history. I like listening to history and philosophy. What else do I like to listen to? I have to go onto my YouTube to see what else I like to listen to. Those kinds of things. Like I said, like I watch some gamers, just kind of general banters, stories, things like that. Archaeology. I love that kind of stuff, and like evolution. I love listening to those kinds of things. Yeah, I do try to get into languages as well. I do enjoy learning language. I just am terrible at keeping up with it and like actually learning it, you know. It's a tough thing, and you have to stay strict, and you gotta keep learning, and you gotta immerse yourself into it, and I just don't feel like I have enough time to really put my whole energy into learning a language. But I do occasionally like listening to things in different languages and just kind of getting a feel for how they sound and that kind of stuff, and maybe learning a new word here or there. But it is definitely a big task. And have you ever tried learning a language before? Let me know in the comments. I studied Spanish for 5 years, and I could probably speak a couple sentences. Definitely don't have the best accent, and it would be a struggle. It's hard when you don't constantly speak it. You can't pick it up as well. I studied Finnish and Korean as well, and it definitely helps to be immersed in the language and be around people that speak it and be able to speak it every day. Otherwise, you're kind of just fumbling around, I feel like, trying to figure things out. Definitely helps to have total immersion into a language, and but it can be fun, and it definitely gets your brain going. It's like a brain exercise to keep your brain from getting too comfortable in itself. So that's another thing I like to occasionally listen to, and occasionally I'll try to get into the study mode again, but I have other goals like the running that I currently am putting more energy into than learning a language. I'm always hoping one day I'll be able to put more energy into a different type of task or goal that I want to learn. But it's always good to just kind of keep trying and keep having those goals. And I don't know, maybe one day I'll be able to fully speak another language. But English is just everywhere, and everyone speaks English basically. So it's easy to stay speaking English instead of getting out of it. But that's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there one day. Besides that, I talk about enjoying history. I do enjoy listening to history. There's just a lot about it that you can. I feel it helps me understand the world and give me perspective on my life and where I'm at, and how to view certain things and stuff like that. It just kind of helps me settle thoughts. Same with some philosophy, although sometimes philosophy gives me more thoughts and turmoil than just trying to listen to history. So, gotta keep it balanced somehow. I think this is what I was talking about with book recommendations too. I think maybe nonfiction history and philosophy might be good books to start with, since I already have an interest in those. Also, archaeology. I love those videos a lot. It's so fascinating, and it kind of goes into history as well, as like you're digging up these facts and events that happened and kind of putting them into place and learning. And I love evolution and just hearing about how things are like evolve and are made. And I just watched this giant video about human evolution, and it was very it was very fun to kind of see the evidence we have currently to point towards different evolution. So, but what do you guys think about that? I know I asked you about what you like to watch on YouTube, but are you into any histories or science? Is there anything, because science, there's so many different topics you could talk about with. So there's evolution, there's biology, there's chemistry, and there's probably a whole lot of other things other than just typical high school classes you take. Anything like that, or into archaeology. I was kind of thinking the other day, I was like, man, maybe I should have become an archaeologist instead of an artist or something like that, because it is so intriguing. But it also kind of is nice to just have it as a pastime, to like to look at that information and then to go to museums and see it, instead of having to be the one that finds it and then, you know, analyzes it and decides and, you know, puts the pieces together. I don't know if I could be that person to put the actual pieces together. I'm more of someone who likes to, I think, just amaze at everything that has been found. So I think that's where it's kind of is for me. But do you guys have any wonders like that where you're like, oh, this is just absolutely amazing, whether it's science or history or any other topic like that? I think there's so many things out there that maybe there's a topic that you guys will let me know about, and I'll be like, wow, I'm actually surprised how interested I am in this, because there's so many things out there that to look at in life and to learn about. Last year we went to this cave that's kind of near where we live. I've been to a cave before when I was younger, but I hadn't been to one in a long while. And I'm kind of someone who I like wind, I like the sun, I like to feel free and like, you know, you're kind of floating through the sky. But I also kind of I think caves are fascinating, because not only can you find interesting fossils, but you can also find rocks, and there's so much history you can gather from that. Again, coming from the archaeologist, I guess, that I have in me. But we went to it, and it feels like it's so fascinating, and there's so many things you can get from it, but at the same time, I was like, I don't feel like I should be down here. Like, I feel like I'm in the ground. I am. I feel like I'm dead in the ground, and I feel like it was just claustrophobic in a sense. This is not the best. I think I prefer the feeling of being on top of the ground and with the wind in my face and the sun and that. Like, it definitely, underground feels a lot less like home, but it's still a fun experience and one I will probably have again. And because it's kind of like, you kind of almost get like a museum like quality out of caves, because of the fossils and because of, you get a tour of it and see the earth from a different perspective. But it definitely is kind of scary as well. But I do think if everyone has the chance to go to a cave, definitely would suggest going to a cave. It's a whole different kind of feeling, and one that maybe you'll like, or maybe you won't. But I am someone who gets a little claustrophobic. Maybe not to the point of a phobia, but like tight spaces or being trapped just don't sit well with me. So, but usually it's a lot smaller places than what the caves are. It's like, you ever the videos of the people doing these deep sea cave dives in these tiny places in water. I think that's my worst nightmare. Oh gosh, we've maybe traveled into a place we don't want to go. What scares you? This is supposed to be a nice and cozy playlist, and now it's just horror. But yeah, I think that's my worst nightmare. What's your worst nightmare? Such a great question to ask, Just right off the bat, let me know what your fears are. Definitely will go help when creating videos in the future. But I'm okay with my art and continuing trying to create and do things like that. And I hope all of you want to continue on that journey with me, because I would love to share my art, and that's part of why I wanted to do like a free coloring page. So it's kind of a quick and easy, accessible way to share art as best as I know how at the moment. So like I said earlier, if you I would love it if you would color in this coloring page and tag us on Instagram at Creative Bear Den. I would truly love to see what you come up with, because I've done a couple different like craft events, or just where you can see other people's ideas, and it always is awesome when you can see someone else's creativity and what they come up with, and see them think and see them bring it to life onto a craft or onto a paper or anything like that. I think that is very inspiring. It inspires me a lot to see people have fun creating something that they enjoy. And so I think I would love to see that if you do decide to color in this coloring page. And I do plan to do more in the future. I want to create a lot more coloring pages, and maybe some with more details once I get more experienced with creating them, because it does take a while, to build up a portfolio and your talent, or you can call it talent, or build up your ability to do something like this, especially in a different art form than what I usually work on, which is painting with acrylics on canvas. Which brings me to, by the way, like, what kind of art do you usually do if you are an artist and watching this, and you're not just watching it for the cozy vibes? Do you? There's so many different art forms out there. Whether it be like something like drawing like this, or performance art, or whatever else other art there are out there. Oh my gosh, I'm stumbling over my words. So I would love to know in the comments below, what kind of art do you do, and if you are an artist, and if you aren't an artist, what kind of projects or crafts or art would you like to try or are interested in? Because I'm sure there's something. If you're not like, if you don't like to do art that much, there's always something that you're like, I'd love to do that. I recently took up, what's it called? Oh gosh. I lose my words. I don't even think I knew this word. Like needlepoint. I think that's the right. I quickly searched it out because I couldn't remember. I've taken up that this year because I asked for it for Christmas because I've always been interested in sewing or thread-like crafts, but they never seem to like me back. And so I've never really been big at sewing or anything, but recently this year I've really taken an interest in it. And so I figured I'd start out with some needlepoint kits. So that's something new that I wanted to try as an artist, and it's definitely something I'll probably keep as a hobby and not as something I really put out there, because I'm still on like the first needlepoint kit I have, so I have a long ways to go to learn and it'll probably take me a while because I'm not working on it constantly. But yeah, what would you like to try? I think it's always important to incorporate a little bit of art, a little bit of creativity into your life. It gets your brain cells working, just like I probably need to incorporate more math into my life. So that's probably something I could do a little bit more of that other end of it. But so if you are someone who's just listening and you're not coloring, I implore you to go and download this coloring page because it is free, and see what you come up with, see what you color, and tag us so I can come and see what your creativity is, because you never know what you're gonna come up with. Never know. And it, again, like, you don't have to be perfect. I desperately try to do things perfectly, but there's only so much you can do in this world, and you just gotta give it a try. And that's what I did with these crayons today. I gave them a try, and I liked them, and I did enjoy coloring with them, but it was definitely a struggle because of the like texture stuff. But I did see a video on YouTube of someone coloring with old crayons, and they weren't coloring in a coloring book. They were just sketching with crayons, and so I was able to paint a beautiful picture with them. And so I think that's something I want to try, is just sitting outside and maybe looking at a scenery and trying to use my crayons to kind of doodle that in. I think that would be a fun little challenge to kind of continue using these crayons, because now I have 96 crayons to use. So I'm going to use them. I'm definitely going to have to use them somehow. But yeah, this coloring page, I talked about using the cotton candy colors, and I also did include a yellow in the colors. I use besides the pink and the blue, I used yellow, white, and a gray as well to color in the bird. The stomach of the bird is roses. That's the pattern I decided to go with. And I did that because roses are kind of nice and easy to do pattern with, and they're also my favorite flower. And then for the blue, I did forget-me-nots. A lot of blue flowers have kind of interesting and unique shapes, so it was kind of hard to find one to create a nice pattern with, especially with a crayon that's so very picky, or like it gets dull very fast, and it's not very good for details. So I needed a flower that was easier to color, I guess, on the coloring page. So I did just yellow inside, and then I think like 5 petals. I think that's what forget-me-nots have. For the flower, and the color is so beautiful. That blue is gorgeous. And then for the bottom white part of the bird, I did daisies because my mom, her favorite flower is daisies, and they're kind of a cute little white flower that is pretty easy to create pattern with, although it was a lot more challenging to find a white flower to use because I would need to use some other color to create the background of it. And so I did have to use a gray in order to create more of a daisy-like shape. So it's definitely more of a challenge, and to make the flower not so gigantic, but a good size. But I think it turned out well, and I think it's cute, and it definitely was a challenge, but it was one that definitely helped me understand how to use crayons more effectively. And I did for the rest of the bird, like the little parts of it. I did decide to swap colors where they are on the bird, just because I didn't know what else I wanted to do. I didn't know if there was anything better to do, so that's what I did. So it's kind of, you could say, impromptu, and kind of something I overlooked when I was originally kind of coming up with a design for it. But yeah, it turned out fine, I think, for that. And then I did also, for the rest of it, another kind of overthought on it is the eye, the beak, the legs of the bird, and like the cheek of it. I didn't really know what to do because the patterns take up a lot of your eye, and to add anything else on top of that feels like it would be way too much for it. So I did kind of go with a simpler thing. I'm not sure if I absolutely love what I did. I took I basically used black, and then I used a little bit of like the yellow and the blue to add little highlights to like the beak or the legs or the eye, and I colored in the cheek with the rosy red. And it definitely was interesting and cool how the eye turned out. In totality, I don't know if I absolutely love it with the bird, just because I was trying to go with like spring vibes, and the black is kind of I don't know if it like, I feel like I need to outline the outline of the bird after I put like I colored everything in with black, because I felt like the rest of the bird didn't have enough contrast compared to the black of the eye and the beak and the legs. So I think that's something that I could improve upon or look at more when doing it, but I do know a bunch of people who liked what I came up with, so, you know, sometimes when you're creating something, if you don't think about certain parts when you're kind of coming together, you're kind of like, well, I guess I'll just try something and see how it goes. So that's kind of how it was, and it's not terrible, but it's also not, I don't know. I mean, maybe the contrast, how it is good, but I do feel like maybe if I did, like, I colored in at least the outline of the bird, like I create the outline a little thicker with the black crayon, maybe that would help it stand out a little bit and not be so striking where the eye and the beak and the legs are. So maybe I have some room to revise on my coloring page. There we go again with the perfectionist, but I did enjoy coloring this in and sitting here and be able to chat and just create a fun and cozy time with it. Yeah. I do really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below so I know if this video is the right one to continue with, or if I should if I should go on a different path. But I do enjoy sitting and just chilling and coloring because I feel like you can't go wrong with that. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!